You may remember we reviewed the Sharpin pinball table, which hosted a large LCD screen in a housing, which was a sort of a man-size version of pinball that you could play in a really nice form factor. Well, this is the Sharpin Mini, and as you can see, it's perfectly fitted to a younger pair of hands, or someone who wants to play on the go. If we turn it over, you can see it has those same arcade-style buttons. You have the controller PCB plugged into the different elements. You've got two flipper buttons. You can use those other two buttons for tilt, and then you've got a plunger button at the bottom. And you can see at the top we have got this 10-inch Android tablet that you have to supply yourself. It has a fixings inside the case, so you screw those down and it's solid in place. So flip it over and you can see you're ready to go. Now, to my mind, the best of the pinball machines available on Android are the Williams collection, because these are real pinball machines that have been digitized and have all that hard design that you'd have to go into for a real world pinball. There's also Pinball Arcade. In my experience, that doesn't seem to render quite as nicely on the Android tablet I'm using here. The challenge with Williams Pinball, of course, is setting up those tilt buttons, which is important. Now, you can do that using the Octopus app, which I've used myself previously, as you can see here. But also, because it's a smaller form factor, it's easier than just to run your hand up, tap the screen, and to tilt the table like that. So as you can see, it works really well. You've got those two arcade quality buttons for your flippers. And the screen, obviously that's determined by which particular tablet you put it in, but certainly the mid-range tablet we're using here was more than adequate and ran these tables really smoothly. There's a real sense though of physicality, because you can clasp this kind of unit in your hands and sort of move it around a bit. You can actually switch the tilting feature to that motion control if your tablet's got that, so again you've got another option for tilt. But having it in your hands and having that pinball form factor, we found really, really nice to play, and actually it got my son more into some of these different pinball tables. So zooming out a bit here, you get a sense that this thing is actually quite small. So if you wanted to take it away somewhere, if you're traveling, or if you want to play it on your lap, it also works in that scenario as well. So the bottom line here, I think, is that it just works. It fits its form and function really well. It's certainly better value for money than some of the larger tables that you can get, because obviously the smaller size results in a smaller screen, so the overall package to put it together is less. There's a nice kind of build aspect to it where you are plugging the buttons in and putting them into the PCB, and so there's that nice kind of project homemade build feel to it. So you and the kids aren't only learning about how to play pinball, but how some of the mechanics and the internals of these machines worked. And so if you're thinking ahead of something that might be a nice gift project for your family to do over the holidays, or you yourself just want to have this kind of smaller form factor of pinball so it doesn't take over the living room, I think the Sharpin Mini is well worth looking at.